Darlington Uchi was 30 years old, a young billionaire, the kind that rose from nowhere, flaunted wealth on social media, and left people guessing. Every week he bought a new car. Every month he took a new trip in a private jet. He dressed like royalty and moved like a mystery. His Instagram was filled with photos of luxury watches, hotel rooftops, and motivational captions about success. Just like most young billionaires of this generation, he always says he was into real estate. But the truth was far from that. And if only people knew what he really did to live like that, maybe they wouldn't have called him a role model. No one knew the real source of his money. They only saw the shine. To the world, he was a symbol of modern success. Proof that a man could become rich overnight. He was admired, envied, praised, but today, inside a plane in the airport, all of that was about to change, as his secret, just like most of them, is about to be exposed. It was a Saturday morning when he boarded a plane heading for France. Chief Darlington Uche sat in business class. His seat was wide and soft like a throne. He sipped from a tall glass filled with juice that looked like shining orange gold. His fingers danced on his phone screen, slow and proud. His gold wristwatch sparkled like the morning sun. Everything about him smelled like wealth. He was not just a rich man. He was a name, a face, a giver, the man who built hospitals, the man who gave school buses to children in the village, the one they called Odogwu. The aircraft door had closed. The wheels were getting ready to roll. People smiled, ready for the sky. Then suddenly, 3 men walked in, quietly, wearing black uniforms. Their boots made no sound, but the air around them felt heavy, like rain before a storm. They didn't shout. They didn't smile. One of them walked up to Darlington's seat. His voice was calm, but cold. "Chief Darlington Uche?" Darlington looked up slowly, his brows pressed together. "Yes, I am. What is the meaning of this?" "Please come with us. Just a quick search, routine check." Darlington laughed, but it was not real laughter. It was the kind that hides fear. Then he frowned. "Are you serious?" he asked, folding his arms. "Do you know who I am? I'm Chief Darlington Uche, billionaire political leader. My name is on the manifest. I've already settled your colleagues. Why are you disturbing me?" Some passengers turned their heads. Whispers started flying like birds. Eyes widened. Phones began to record. Darlington stood up, adjusted his sleeves. His face looked strong, but his hands shook just a little. "I have settled this already, with your men outside. If I miss this flight, people will lose their jobs. I'm warning you." One of the junior officers spoke again. His voice was softer this time. "Sir, we are just doing our work, but our boss is here now. He gave the order himself." Darlington turned his head slowly, like a lion sniffing danger. Standing just outside the plane door, behind the officers, was a tall man in full command uniform. He didn't smile. He didn't move. His face was stone. His eyes were knives. Darlington saw him, and something broke inside him. The lion in his voice turned to a whisper. He took a deep breath, swallowed hard. His shoulders dropped. He picked up his bag, turned to the officer, and said softly, "Let's go." And just like that, the plane sat still. The passengers watched. The sky waited. Something big was about to happen. Something no one could stop. The eagle had been pulled down from the sky, and it hadn't even taken off. As they stepped off the plane, Darlington leaned closer to one of the junior officers. "Listen, I can make you a millionaire. Just pretend like this didn't happen. I'll transfer the money now, straight into your account." The officer didn't blink. "Sir, Please cooperate. We received reliable information. The search is necessary. Darlington swallowed hard. He knew what was coming. This wasn't his first trip. For years he had passed through borders like royalty. Never once had he been stopped, never searched, never questioned. But this time was different. He didn't know it yet, but the charm his mother got for him had expired. He had broken the only rule. He had slept with a woman who was on her period and also crossed one more line. So, he was taken to a secluded room in the airport. Cameras were off, doors locked. A senior officer stepped forward with a pair of gloves and calmly opened his bag. At first, there were only clothes, neatly folded shirts, boxers, toiletries. But when they tore open the lining beneath the suitcase, the room froze. Packages, tightly wrapped, heavy, drugs. Darlington went pale. The superior officer didn't say a word. He simply nodded to his men. One of them picked up a phone and sent a signal. Within 10 minutes, the story hit the media. Social media exploded. People were stunned. Was it a mistake? A setup? A witch hunt? But as photos and videos began to circulate, people saw clearly. Darlington, handcuffed, head bowed, surrounded by drug law enforcement officers. The same Darlington who donated school buses to rural areas. The same one who gave motivational speeches to graduates. The one who built a hospital wing in his father's name. It couldn't be, but it was. The truth had arrived, dragging everything into the light. And all this happened due to pressure from his parents. They were never satisfied. Long ago, before the flashing lights, before the big houses and the airport shame, Darlington was just a small boy in the village. His voice was soft. His steps were gentle. He always greeted elders. He always sat quietly during family talks. He was the last born, the one people forgot during celebrations. His mother loved money more than sleep. Every time someone came back from the city with a car, her eyes would shine like a mirror facing the sun. His father was like thunder, loud and never smiling. He believed a man who didn't make it before 30 was already dead inside. Don't bring shame into this house, he would say. All your brothers made it early. If you don't rise like them, don't call me your father. And truly, the older brothers were like bright stars. Emeka, the first, was a car dealer. By 25, he already had 2 shops in Lagos. People called him Odogwu Motors. Tochukwu, the second, entered politics early. He wore suits and waved at people from tinted jeeps. By 27, he became the youngest chairman in the state. Ifeanyi, the third, flew abroad and started sending dollars. His mother would spray the notes on the floor and dance with wrapper flying. But Darlington, he went to school, he read books, he held certificates. He came back home with neat clothes and grammar, but no car, no cash, no land. His father looked at the paper in his hand and laughed, like a man watching a child bring firewood during rainfall. This certificate cannot buy salt, he said. Your mates are building houses, and you are here printing CVS. Wake up. Darlington stood by the window that night watching the moon. His heart was heavy, his shadow long. He didn't know that the same family he was trying to make proud would one day push him into the very fire that burned him. But the wind had started blowing, and the leaves were already shaking. Darlington hasn't always been like this. In fact, all his life had been ruled by his mother, who had a very big love for money. The pressure didn't start immediately. It began the year Darlington graduated from university. That same month, their neighbor's son, Chaik, who had dropped out of school at 16 and disappeared into the city, came back to the village and bought his father a car. The day he came back with the car, it stopped in front of his father's old house. The door opened. Chike stepped out. He had gold on his neck. gold on his wrist, sunglasses that hid his eyes, and a smile that carried pride. The children ran to the gate. The men stood with folded arms. The women peeked from their windows. He stepped out, smiled at the crowd, and said, "I'm a businessman now." People clapped. Some shouted. Some women blessed him. He did not even finish school, they whispered. But look at him now. Darlington's father watched everything from their front door. His mouth was open. His chest rose and fell like a man waking from a bad dream. That evening, he called Darlington. "You see that boy?" he began to say. He didn't waste his life chasing books. He brought a car home before 20. You're just carrying certificates up and down. There's nothing in school. Darlington's heart dropped, but he didn't argue. He tried. He got a customer service job at a telecom firm. The pay was modest. After his first month, he bought groceries and sent a small token home. His father opened the envelope and hissed, "What is this? Do you think this can feed a household? Leave that job. It's not for real men." Then he got another job at a microfinance bank. He worked long hours, wore a tie every day. His mother called after 2 months. "Your father says you're wasting your time. Find something meaningful." The third job was at a logistics startup, fast-paced, urban, low salary, but growth potential. His father didn't even allow him to explain. "Are they paying you more than Cheek's business?" "No? Then stop deceiving yourself." His mother said, "This is still nothing." No matter what he did, it was not enough. It was like cooking a pot of soup, and every time he added salt, they said it was still tasteless. But he didn't know that soon they would bring someone into his life who would change everything, and not in a good way. One day, Cheek came to the small town again to visit his father. That day was when Darlington's father seized, then opportunity to meet with Cheek himself. It was a beautiful afternoon. Darlington's father stopped by Cheek's house and told him he wanted to see him in private. Then he started, "Cheek, I want my son Darlington to be rich. I want him to be like you. Please, can you help me show him the way?" Cheek looked up at him for a while and said, "Okay, no problem, only if he can do what I do." Darlington's father came back that evening and called Darlington. "Tomorrow, Cheek will come and talk to you. No more excuses. You're not a child." The next day, Cheek came to their house. It was a quiet evening. The wind was soft. The sky was orange like ripe mango. Darlington sat outside, pressing his phone when he heard a car horn. Peep, peep. He looked up. It was Cheek again. But this time, he was alone. No crowd, no noise, just him and his calm face. He stepped out of the car and said, "Let's talk." Darlington followed him to the backyard. The sun had almost gone to sleep. Crickets were singing. The world was quiet. Cheek sat on a bench and looked at Darlington. "Look, your dad is upset. You're suffering," he said. Darlington stayed quiet. "I know what you earn is nothing. Come, let me help you. It's not exactly legal, but it works. We travel, we move goods, and we get paid. Life doesn't have to be hard." Darlington's eyes narrowed. "Drugs?" Cheek nodded. "Yes." Darlington frowned. "That's wrong." Cheek smiled. "But it works. Look at me. Am I in prison? Poor people are the only ones who talk about right and wrong. Money is what matters in this life." That night, Darlington couldn't sleep. He sat on his bed, thinking. By morning, he went to his parents and told them everything. His father didn't blink. He just looked at him and said, "So what? Cheek has been doing it for years. Has he died? Has he been caught? If you're not bold enough to take risks, don't come back here complaining." His mother added calmly, "If that's your worry, I know someone, a strong man, a spiritualist. He'll give you something that will make you invisible to danger. People are succeeding because they know where to go. You too will go. Darlington stared at them in disbelief. You want me to become a criminal? His father slammed the table. I want you to become a man. We placed a bet on you. When Cheek bought that car, I told people my son would be greater. Now you want to shame me? His mother tied her wrapper. Tomorrow morning, we are going to see Baba Idowu. He'll prepare you. And just like that, Darlington was pushed into a life he never wanted. A life they chose for him. Very early the next morning, before the cock could crow the second time, Darlington's mother woke him up. Get dressed, she said. We are going to see someone. The road was long and quiet. Birds flew across the sky. Trees lined both sides of the path, like guards watching a king pass. After some time, they reached the edge of the village, where the land was dry and the air smelled of smoke. There, under a mango tree, was a small mud house with no windows. Dark, still, strange. They knocked once. A voice said, "Enter." Inside, it was dim like dusk. The air was thick. The floor was bare. The walls were black with soot. The smell of burnt leaves and bitter roots filled the nose. In the corner sat an old man, cross-legged, his body wrapped in a red cloth. His hair was gray like ashes, and his eyes looked like they had seen too much. His name was Baba Idowu. He didn't greet them. He just stared at Darlington quiet. You want to be safe? He asked. Darlington opened his mouth to answer, but his mother spoke first. Yes, Baba. He must never be caught. Baba nodded slowly. He reached into a wooden box beside him and brought out a red thread, a small gourd, and black powder. He whispered words, old words, words from before Darlington was born. He tied the red thread around Darlington's waist. He rubbed the powder on his palm and blew it into the air. Then he said, "He will be safe. Nobody will see him. Not police, not dogs, not machines." Then Baba turned to the mother. He pulled Darlington's mother outside and whispered it privately. "He will be invisible to law," Baba said. "But tell him this. If he ever sleeps with a woman who is menstruating, especially the night before a trip, the charm will break. He must never do that." The mother nodded, but she didn't tell Darlington. She only said, "Just behave wisely. Stay away from careless women." Darlington nodded, thinking it was just advice. But the real warning, the real danger was never passed on. And that silence would one day open the door to his fall. After Baba Idowu's charm was tied, Darlington stepped into the world like a lion with hidden wings. He moved quietly, but every step he took brought gold to his feet. The first trip was smooth. No search, no questions, no delay. The second trip, even better. The officers greeted him with smiles. The scanners didn't beep. The dogs didn't bark. And so the business began. He carried the goods. He moved them from place to place. Quiet, fast, bold. And the money came like rain in farming season. He bought a big car, then two, then more. The tires danced on the road like drums in a festival. He wore suits so sharp they could cut yam. His shoes shined like mirrors. Everywhere he went, people called him Chief. He didn't forget his family. He tore down the old house and built a new one with glass windows and marble floors. He bought his father a brand new Prado Jeep. He sent his mother to Jerusalem on a holy trip. She came back saying, "My son is chosen. God has favored us." He didn't stop there. He built a hospital in their village and named it after his late grandfather. Uche Memorial Health Center. People clapped. The governor shook his hand. The church made him a patron. The town made him a chief. Children sang his name. Old women prayed for him. But no one knew the truth. Behind the sweet smiles and wide roads, behind the suits and speeches, was a secret wrapped in powder, a life built on risk, a heart tied with red thread. And that thread was already getting weak, because one day he finally crossed the line, the one that his mother had hidden from him, the taboo. It was the night before another big trip. The stars were shining like lanterns hung by angels. The air was cool, soft like a lullaby. Darlington sat in his mansion checking his documents. Everything was set. Passport, bag, flight ticket. Then his phone rang. It was his friends. Odogwu. They shouted, "Let's go and enjoy tonight. You're always too serious." At first he said no. "I have a flight tomorrow," he told them. But they begged and laughed and teased him until he finally agreed. They picked him up in a big car with loud music. They drove to a private club where the lights blinked like fireflies and the music shook the walls. Drinks flowed like rivers. Laughter filled the air. Girls danced like feathers in the wind. Then he saw her. She stood alone near the bar. Her skin glowed. Her eyes were soft. She smiled at him. He walked over. They talked. She laughed at his jokes. Her voice was like honey. She said her name was Adaora. They left together, went to his house. She kissed him slowly, gently, like rain touching dry soil. They didn't talk much. They just did it. That night, his hands touched the very thing Baba had warned against. But Darlington didn't know. She was on her period. He had no clue. He slept like a baby beside her, breathing deep, dreaming of dollars and destinations. But far away, in a small hut, the red thread on his waist began to burn slowly, then turn black. And the charm, it died, just like a candle forgotten in the wind. The next day, the sun rose slowly, painting the sky gold. Birds flew in lines and the air smelled fresh like new beginnings. Darlington woke up early. He yawned, stretched, smiled. The trip was today. He wore his finest suit, deep blue, smooth like water. His shoes clicked on the tiles. His gold chain rested gently on his chest. His perfume followed him like a quiet song. He packed his bag with care, folded shirts, tucked his documents, sprayed his passport with cologne. Everything was ready. He stepped into his black SUV. The driver opened the door like he was welcoming a king. "Airport," Darlington said, crossing his legs. The journey was fast. No traffic, no worries, no fear. At the airport, people waved at him. "Chief, safe journey." He smiled. He walked through the gates like he owned the sky. He passed the check-in counter. He passed the scanners. He passed the guards. Nobody stopped him. As usual, he entered the plane, found his seat in business class, and sat down like a man whose name could never fall. He sipped juice, crossed his legs, checked his phone. Then it happened. 3 officers stepped into the plane, quiet, calm, focused. They walked straight to him. "Chief Darlington Uche?" He looked up slowly, like a man who had seen this moment in a dream. "Yes?" "Please step out, just a quick search." His smile faded. His fingers tightened around the glass. "You again? I already settled your people. Do you know who I am?" One of them spoke calmly. "You can call anyone you want, but our boss is the one who just arrived." Darlington turned his head. Outside the plane door stood the senior officer, silent, still, watching. Darlington's chest began to pound. He stood up, adjusted his sleeves, stepped out. The crowd stared, Phones came out, whispers filled the air. Something had changed. He didn't feel the warmth of the charm. There was no fire on his waist, only emptiness. The shield was gone. The spirits had turned their backs. And now, the lion had walked into the hunter's trap, alone. And that was where and how he was arrested and charged to court, just due to one night of enjoyment. The court was full, journalists, strangers, old friends who came not to help, but to watch. Darlington stood in the dock, no suit, no gold, just a plain brown prison cloth, wrinkled, empty. The judge read the words like a hammer hitting stone. Guilty. Everything moved fast after that. They took his houses, the white mansion in the city, the one in the village, even the small flat he bought for his cousin. They took his cars, all of them, the black Jeep, the red sports car, even the one he promised to give his pastor. Then they came for his parents' house, the one he built, the pride of his father, painted blue, with a high gate. They locked it, seized it. His parents moved back to the same broken mud house they once left. Cracked walls, leaking roof, no light, no joy. Neighbors stopped greeting them. Church members stopped visiting. No more. Your son is doing well. Now it was only silence, only shame. They sat on wooden benches, looking at the floor, waiting for days that refused to get better. And Darlington? He was no longer the king. He was just a name on TV, a fallen star that crashed without warning. Let me take you to the last chapter. The prison walls were high, thick, gray. Darlington sat on the cold floor, his back against the wall, his food untouched, his eyes empty. Each day, he wrote letters, same words, same pain. To Mama and Papa, he wrote, "You made me this. You pushed me. You broke me. You were not my wings. You were the chains on my feet." He sent them again and again, but no letter came back, not even one. He stopped smiling. He stopped speaking. He just sat, and in his hand he held the red thread. Old now, torn, weak. Once it made him feel powerful. Now it felt like dust. He stared at it for hours. Then he laughed. A small, bitter laugh. The charm that made him strong was the same charm that destroyed him. Outside, the world moved on. People forgot his name. His pictures faded from the news. And in time, Chief Darlington Uche became nothing but a story, a lesson mothers whispered to their sons. Don't chase riches with blind eyes. Don't follow the road that swallows men. Once rich, now forgotten. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like the video. Comment what you learned from the tale. Share with friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more African tales just like this one. Thank you.